My favorite moment, I was talking about this last night, when little Sam, he comes forward and he's at the elocution performance and he's not stuttering anymore. And Zachary did this all by himself. I didn't have to instruct him. I told him, I was like, I kind of want you to be a little scared when you say this, like, because you're in front of a bunch of people and it's the first time you're speaking. And he just walked up and started doing this whole mockery thing and the posed pantomime. And I was just like, where did that come from? That's genius. Like, you know, because I didn't think he could handle it, like giving him any more direction. And he just came out with that, and I'm like, that's my favorite.
Cast members often handle multiple roles.
The very first one, I think, I've enjoyed all the roles, but the very first one, when I was Maisie Moselle, the Muskogee Indian who lived alone at the beach. And, you know, when you memorize a monologue that long, it stays with you. And her story does stay with me.
They've staged this year's performance, so I'm acting in the first act and playing in the pit band in the second act. So I'm not moving back and forth and having to split time quite as much as I was before. So, yes, that was probably good. I got to play a little less that way, and the band sounded a little better until I got there. So it worked out well.
Hard on yourself.
Oh, I've been a newspaper reporter. I've been the midwife, Gladys Milton in Flowers View. I was the mother of a service person who got killed in the war. And that was another role that I was in called the Chit Chat Ladies. Oh, that was very good. We had fun doing that one. And just various roles. I've looked at several scripts that they've had over the years. They had one called a Shoebox Expo, and they had some very good ones in there. We've had several that were very good. And we've had some that were kind of continuation from some from other years. I basically like the one about the sweet potato patch.
I was in the very first Grit and Grace production in 2000. I was 15 years old. When I first was a part of Grit and Grace, way back when, in the first production, that was one of the biggest stage performance I had done thus far. And it had allowed me to see the passion that was stirred in performance in me, and I went on to go to college and get my bachelor's in music and a master's degree in opera performance. As far as the performing, I play a diva. My name is Nell, and I'm an opera singer that's come to town for the Chautauqua Assembly, and I also have been working behind the scenes as the vocal coach.
Actually, in the original production, whenever we first started with Jim Cooper doing the music, and we were doing, that was our premiere production in the year 2000. Oh, it just offers a lot of musical highlights. As far as this year's production, you know, working with the children this year has been a lot of fun, and that's always a highlight to me, is working with the children. And then working with the adults as well, and the standards, the old times, and Time Stands Still. I don't think there's ever a time we do Time Stands Still that it doesn't put chills on me. So.
I've actually enjoyed all of my roles, telling the stories, having fun, creating a character. There's not one that I can single out as a favorite. On all of them, I'm either a mother or a grandmother, anything of that nature. But the grandmothers are probably the biggest standout as being different. It's challenging but fun, because I get to try out the different voices, the different characters, and see if I can pull them off. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it just comes from having a family full of characters and working with children day in and day out.
I am a little old woman who rides around in a wheelchair, and I forbade them to give me any speaking lines at all, because I'm quite certain that I will forget them, because I forget everything these days.
Mostly just played a friend or someone to sing, fill in extras. Played in a seance one time, which was really a lot of fun. Learned a lot of things. Did a lot of singing, a lot of helping people learn music and learn their parts. I'll be several people in this one. One, I'll be cleaning, as if the train's coming in, and I'm very excited. I'm just an everyday person working in Defuniak, and I'm all excited because Chautauqua's coming to town. That's the big thing. So I'm all excited, and then I'm a northerner coming from the north down here to be in the Chautauqua around our beautiful lake yard. I also get to play a little bit of a nurse, which I am a nurse, yay, hey y'all, I'm a nurse, in the play, in one of the singing for Walton High. And then the major scene is I'm a teacher for one of the scenes that talked about the Indians in the Uchee Valley.
I am playing the ribbon cutter of the new high school. I am also doing, I'm the census worker, the census taker of 1940. I open up the play with being a farmer, and I also double as a guy that gets off the train, the conductor. So I'm not playing 4 roles, but small parts.
I was backstage help or construction help in the very first one. And so for most of all the productions I've been involved some part. Most of the time I call myself the chief termite because I make all the sawdust. The writer takes the idea and builds a script. The director reads the script and has their idea of what they want to do. At some point they have to say, we'd like to have a house, we'd like to have a car or whatever. And I've taken those ideas and tried to bring them to fruition for the venue that we're in. You know, all sorts of time and money in a professional stage, we can do all sorts of wild and wonderful things. Otherwise, we have to figure out how to do it on a budget and make it look like they want. So I've kind of backdoor designing and construction and figuring out how to make it.
Music always plays an important part in every Grit and Grace performance. Each production features original music written and performed by a variety of local musicians under the direction of accomplished pianist Sherry Nelson Paris.
Well, they began collecting stories about the people and the times of Walton County, and then we put it all together. It comes together with the writers, the musicians, the dancers, and it just becomes a production. We try to do as much original music as possible, and we try to write songs that reflect the stories that are being presented.
We have Matt Carpenter, the second, playing drums this year. Matt Carpenter's playing guitar with us, and I'll be playing keyboards and synthesizer type stuff, and mostly filling in the instruments that we don't have in the pit would be pretty much my role this year. And of course we have Sherry Paris on piano, so I'm really not needed on keyboards very much with her around, thankfully.
Well, we actually have a music selection committee, so that way we're able to use more talents in the community, and everyone comes to the table with different strengths. So some are really strong with vocals, some are really strong with instrumentals, some just have the gift of lyrics, and it just becomes magic. We put it all together, and it becomes something that you're proud of over the years.
One of this is this trio that we're doing called Defuniak Lake. It's a poem written by Wallace Bruce that's been put to music. Very new. This is its debut in this play. His poem put to music, written by Marie Henson and Mr. Charles Henson.
About a month to 3 weeks before the performance will take place, we have a music committee that meets. Some of the music is written completely by committee. Sometimes we'll dole out certain songs to certain members of the committee, and that's pretty much the way it worked this year. We have a few songs that are written completely by the committee, and then some music that was arranged by Miss Henson, and Mac Carpenter and myself have arranged a couple of songs that will be performed. Miss Henson pretty much took this poem that existed by Wallace Bruce and has produced this soaring trio, which is just absolutely beautiful. it'll be a wonderful addition to the Grit and Grace songs that are become, you know, pretty much history themselves through the years. So.
Yeah.
We were looking for something to date back during the Chautauqua, and I found Wallace Bruce's poem, and I put harmony, music and harmony to it, and we are singing it this year in this year's production.
Also, you know, sometimes the songs just lend themselves to having certain type of instrumentation. So sometimes we may need a fiddle, sometimes we may need a harmonica player, sometimes it may need an organ sound, just whatever the stories require, or what would give it more depth and more feeling. That's what we try to do. And sometimes we have to search out certain instrumentalists to do that.
Buckets are all empty of rain. Clouds gather, but they do not burst. Walk what seemed 1,000 miles with an anger that was more than a thirst. Stormed upon the Capitol, howled in a dark hole. Imagine men on the battlefields, dead they do not know. Scratch my head and I can't remember time when I wasn't torn between what I know is right and the place where I was born.
And some of the songs have got more of a blues sound to it and more of a rock and roll sound to it, and that's because we brought it from the 20s, 30s, and 40s up to the 60s and 70s. And so not only we're hitting that era of you know, the hippie movement, of the Vietnam War, of segregation, integration, we're also bringing in the music. Not the music that was, you know, written back then, but written, you know, recently, to put in there as far as like bringing people to that time, to that era.
That's right. I've been blessed to be on the music committee, and the music committee meets at my house usually, and we develop the songs, create the songs, and to me, they're showstoppers.